Hello, welcome back to another episode of Leointerviews. Today we have Frank Parrotto with us.
Thank you, Leo. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, of course. And my dad met you through Donnie and
Yeah.
met at the Nürburgring.
Yep.
Um, yeah. Well, let's go ahead and get to it. Tell me about you.
Okay. Well, I live out on the East Coast
Mhm.
in New Jersey, a town called Bedminster, which is not far from Rutgers University.
Mhm.
And I've lived here most of my life, except I did spend some time living on the West Coast, but now I'm back here. And I
Cool.
worked prior to COVID, I used to work in Manhattan, but now we don't have to run back into Manhattan every day, so that makes it nice. So now I only go when I really want to.
That's nice. So, since then, I'm just curious, like, what cars have you been driving since the Nürburgring?
Well, I've been a loyal owner of an M3 for quite a number of years. So I got a new one in 2024, an M3 Competition. Um, and I've been so that's my fifth one.
Cool. I've had Donnie on the podcast before, so I asked him this question as well. What do you think was the hardest part in the Nürburgring?
Well, for me, the crash was the hardest part, but
I guess
you know, yeah,
section.
I think the section that goes through the carousel
Oh
is
yeah.
probably the toughest. Keeping the car down in there so it
Hmm.
doesn't literally pop out
Yeah.
um, takes a lot of concentration.
Hmm. So when you are scared, what is something that helps you feel brave again?
That's an interesting question. Um, I try to think about something that makes me happy
Hmm.
in that moment. So then that changes my focus, and then that would hopefully make me happy.
Hmm. Exactly, because I think, it's all in our mind, it's not really, like really real. So I feel like if we can, well, being sad is real, but I feel like if we can change our mind on something happy, our mind, like you said, and if we like put our mind on something happy, we would forget about the sad stuff, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. That's what I
Because
try to do.
yeah, because it's like, oh, we're remembering this happy moment, and now the sad's forgotten. So yeah.
Yeah.
What was the biggest challenge, or what's your biggest challenge in life, and how did you overcome it?
Hmm. Well, I mean, so far, I think the biggest challenge has been um, this may sound odd, but when I moved to California, um, the lifestyle in California is very different. So it doesn't mean there's not a lot of great people are because there are, and I still have a lot of them that are friends. But changing from the East Coast to the West Coast was a massive challenge for me. And just getting used to different people, different surroundings, even though I travel all the time, living somewhere new and having to be there every day. For me, having a large Italian family that was all here on the East Coast, and then I'm suddenly the only one on the West Coast, took a while.
Yeah, I imagine that's a pretty big difference because, like, California and then somewhere over here, I think.
Yeah, in New
Yeah,
York, they're very different.
yeah. So it's like it very far apart as well, very long distances,
Yeah, tough to fly
like
home for
this
dinner.
long.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. If you think that we could all change the world by doing one thing, what would it be?
Communicate. People need to talk to people because,
Mhm.
if nothing gets accomplished if you don't communicate. And there's plenty of examples of that around the world. And we could use a lot more communication these days. And I mean, most of that, and I'm one who's in favor of face to face, whether it's on video, face to face in person is the best, but at least you see each other. That goes a long way. If you don't talk, you can't accomplish anything.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. Because again, I just, like to reflect on these is that like our world is like everyone's just like in their own little bubble. They don't reach out, they don't branch out. And that's how like you don't grow as a human. So like you gotta communicate as a person. Like if there wasn't a world without communication, we wouldn't be able to like I don't know, build like highways, build airplanes. We wouldn't be able to build, I guess, most of the stuff that we have today.
You're exactly
So,
right. That's
yeah,
exactly
because
right.
we wouldn't be like, hey, Bob, what part goes there again? And we're like, huh, what? No, I can't hear you because we can't talk, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So again, communication, like you said, is a big part to our life. Like
Right.
we're communicating right now, you
That's
know?
exactly right.
Like
Absolutely.
like with no communication, I wouldn't even have a podcast, you know?
Right. No one would hear you. No one would hear us.
Exactly. And like no one would hear like all like think about it, like all the people who are like in this world who are like amazing, right? Like who started, small and came big, no one would hear them, so they would stay small, you know? And well, the people who are big, they would just stay big, I guess, you know? That
You
or I
know,
guess maybe it would just be up and down different patterns, since we can't
and,
really talk. But, yeah.
and we wouldn't know who they are.
Yeah, true.
Right.
I wouldn't even know what your name is, even though it says it right there. Well,
Yeah.
I guess maybe technically I would, but still,
Right. But if we weren't
probably not.
communicating, you would not.
Yeah.
Right.
What's the biggest piece of advice that you could give to someone right now?
And I'm not saying this because you're young, but I would say stay in school and learn as much as you can. Through your entire life, you'll always have an opportunity to learn, but there's nothing that outweighs education. And I specifically went back to school a few years ago. I already had a couple degrees, but I decided to go back to school in the UK because I wanted to learn more about certain things that I wanted to do and affect business. And you can always learn more. So education. It's the biggest
Yeah.
piece of advice I could give.
Yeah, because like again, sorry, but I just like
All
love to
right.
reflect on these things, is that like education, like if we were dumb, like one IQ brained, right? We wouldn't be able to start the great invention of fire. We couldn't even survive. We
That's
would
right.
be like Patrick from SpongeBob nailing a nail into his head and then nailing his head into a piece of wood.
Right.
Like we wouldn't know anything.
You're
Like
right.
if we had zero education, we had zero communication. So
That's a
without
very good way
any
to put it. Yeah,
yeah, no education means no communication, I
that's a
guess.
very good statement.
Maybe for some people who are watching this and don't really know what they want to do or what they want to become when they are older or when they grow up, what would you say to them right now?
I'm not sure I understood the question exactly. Say it again.
So, like, maybe for some people who are watching this video and they don't really know what their dream is, they don't know what they want to become, a doctor, a worker at Chick-fil-A or McDonald's, like they're not even thinking about college. Maybe they are, but they're not really thinking too much about their jobs. And then, well, I guess I don't know what to say, but the time
Yeah.
comes and they gotta think about I don't know what I want to do. Like, I don't know what I want to become. I don't know what I should do. People who are still looking for like their passion slash job. What would you say to them right now?
I would say that, and I often joke to people that I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do, but even though I've been doing it for a while. But I would say, in the advice that I was given once, that, find something you love and chase it really hard, because if you do something you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
Exactly. And again, like, I feel like we need fun, you know?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, because we would all be like that one 8-year-old grumpy neighbor who lives in the old rundown shack next to like some house we live in, you know?
Hmm.
And so like no happiness means no joy. No joy. Well, you're kind of just a sitting duck in emotions, you know?
Yeah, life's too short not to spend all
Mhm.
your time unhappy.
Yeah. Because, like, think about it, no happiness, we'd be stuck to the four other emotions. So, like,
Yeah,
anger, sadness, fear, and those three already are bad, but when they're put together because they have to work together because there's no joy, that's even worse, you know?
sure,
So, I
sure.
feel like, again, joy. is a big part in our us humans' lives, you know?
I agree 100%.
Yeah. What's the biggest piece of financial advice you could give to someone right now?
Ooh. Um, obviously you've heard it before, but save your money. Don't
Hmm.
spend it on things that really don't matter. Um, you know, think about the longer term, and you can spend money and have some fun from time to time, but keep an eye on the bigger picture.
And again, like communication, like people hear the same thing, over and over. Oh, save your money, save your money. But again, they don't really get it in their head. So if we can't
Right.
communicate to them, we can't really help them. And if you guys are watching this, do what Frank said, save money because again, I heard this from, sorry, I just blanked out on the person's name. But what you do is if you have $1, take 10 cents, put it in a piggy bank, and spend the rest 90 cents on something to get you somewhere, to like remake
Start.
another dollar. And then
It's a
you take,
start.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a humble beginning of a start.
Right. Right. There's
Well,
a there's oh sorry.
oh no, sorry.
There's a
Go ahead.
saying in by the Chinese
Mhm.
that a journey of 1,000 miles
Mhm.
starts with one step. So
Yeah.
same thing applies.
Yeah. I also heard this other saying, if it takes 1,000 hits to break one stone, it's not the 1,000th hit that count, it's all the 999
Yeah,
that count.
that's absolutely.
Well, before we are get to the end of the podcast, is there maybe like a website where people can find out more about you?
Me personally, no. Obviously I'm on LinkedIn like a lot of other business people. But that's about all I do. And I don't do any social media and things like that. I've also got some restrictions from work for doing those type of things. So not that I'm hiding, but you can find me if you need to, but I'm not out there in a whole lot of other things.
Okay. And before we close out, is there maybe a couple more words that you would like to give to my viewers?
Well, I'm assuming that a lot of your viewers are certainly around your age or maybe just a little bit older. I think the biggest thing is, I talked about communication, especially and I'm going to sound old here, but um, you want to communicate beyond the text message, right? You want to look people in the face and have a conversation. That's number one. And number two, because when you get older and you go to work, you're going to have to communicate, right?
Yeah,
Same thing keeps coming up, right? We've talked
yeah,
about it. And so I may sound like a broken record on that,
yeah.
but I can't tell you how important it is. And I try to tell a lot of people, especially younger people that I meet with, or if I talk to a group or in a school or something like that, I really kind of say the same thing all the time.
Mhm.
So I hope that helps.
Yeah. Well, as always, we have our special surprised last big baddest bonus question. Are
Oh
you ready
boy.
for it?
I hope so.
Okay. A lot of people have a hard time during this, so
All
you
right,
sure?
I'll give it a shot.
Okay. Are you a Coke or Dr. Pepper guy?
Oh man. Um, I would have to say Coke, even though I haven't had a soda in a long time, but Coke.
Yeah, okay. I think that brings the Coke. We've had a lot of people who have said Coke. So I think that brings the scale up to like maybe 6 or 7 people, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Dr. Pepper, I think, is sitting at like 3 or 4 people. So Coke is currently winning. Dr. Pepper
Okay.
is losing.
Okay.
But all the viewers watching this, if you guys want your opinion to be heard, you can go to Leo Interviews, check out my YouTube page. And there's a poll where you guys can make your voice heard and communicate. You guys can vote for Dr. Pepper or Coke. And it's just a fun little poll I decided to add. So you guys can vote there as you want.
Well, that's
But was
good.
it,
Yep.
yeah. Well,
Wasn't
that's
too
it.
bad. I was pretty nervous, but it worked out.
Oh, yeah, like I said, a lot of people they're like, "Oh gosh, but I love Coke, but I love Dr. Pepper. I don't know what to do." Like I, people they're like, like they. It's pretty hard answering that question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Hmm.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you today.
Oh yeah, it's been a pleasure, Frank.
So I hope to see you again soon.
Oh
Maybe we'll
yeah.
see you at a racetrack somewhere.
Yeah. Well, until next time, guys. Bye.
Take care.